Here we are again, talking about promotion and relegation in MLS. Now, this topic is one of the most talked about topics in MLS and also one of the most polarizing topics as well. Many fans think that MLS should go ahead and adapt the promotion relegation system, while other fans think that we should be our own kind of league and not adopt that system at all. But I think, guys, I've kind of solved the riddle. I don't want to say solved, but I think I came up with a really good idea at how I think the MLS should be set up if it ever adapts, hopefully soon, a promotion and relegation system. So kick back, relax, get some snacks. I'm your boy Drew. We're going to talk about promotion and relegation in the MLS, how it's going to work, or how it should work. Late last year in 2018, the USL made a huge change for American soccer and a huge change within its league, totally almost wiping out the NASL from existence. The USL really restructured itself as a league and really pushed itself to be in the second tier of American soccer right under MLS. So now if you guys are unfamiliar with it, I'll put a little screen here on how the USL restructured itself. Basically, you'll have almost like an English championship. You'll have the USL Championship, and then under that, it'll go into USL League 1 and then USL League 2. Almost familiar, almost kind of similar to the English Premier League, where we have the Premier League, we got the Championship, and then League 1 and League 2. Literally almost the same. Now, the only big difference there is that it doesn't yet have promotion and relegation, but Jake Edwards, the owner or the president of USL, has come out publicly and stated that he is in favor of adapting a promotion and relegation system in not just USL, but in American soccer as a whole. And for all you pro relatives out there, that's your guy right there. You guys are like, Don Garber sucks. Jake Edwards, he's the best. I think a big reason as to why I think promotion and relegation fans want that kind of system adapted in American soccer is maybe because of the expansion teams. You know, a lot of people want an equal opportunity for all teams to go ahead and play in the big league of American soccer. You know, teams like Las Vegas City Lights, teams like Birmingham Legion FC, those teams right now play in the USL, and I don't think they ever have a good chance of going ahead and buying their way into the MLS. A lot of fans of MLS really don't like that teams just go get to pick and choose who gets into the league just based off, you know, who has more money, who has a good stadium plan, and who really stuffs Don Garber's pockets, okay? Nobody likes that. Your boy Drew does not like that at all. I rather see, and I'm sure many of you guys out there would like to see teams earn their way into the big league of MLS here in America, okay? That's the way it should work. I think that's the way all these new teams should come into the MLS, you know? I think it'd be really great to see teams from the USL 1 work their way up through the championship into MLS, and the same goes for teams in USL League 2. Really excited about that, and I'm really excited to show you guys the way I think the MLS should really adopt its structure. Before I show you the structure, like I said, I don't want to get too into depth about promotion relegation here. I'm not going to talk about finances or the owners and all that stuff. I'm just going to show you how I think the MLS should adapt this formation, how it should be set up if we ever adapt a promotion relegation. So finally, here it is. As you can see, it's really not that big of a complicated plan. I'm sure many of you guys out there have also thought about this similar type of setup. You know, USL 2 being promoted to League 1, and then from League 1 going to Championship, and then from Championship going into the MLS, and vice versa for teams who are relegated. Almost identical, and actually exactly identical to the Barclays Premier League, where they had the same kind of setup. And what I think is a really crucial part to this is that not only do we have to get every team and owner involved and, you know, agree to this, we also have to look into account the conferences. You know, MLS is a massive, massive league in terms of how many teams it's got in its league table. We've got, by the time promotion relegation could ever be installed, we could have up to 30 teams right now in MLS, because that's the number they want to go into. They want to have at least 30 teams in their league, okay? So what I think is the best way to do it is to definitely keep the conferences a thing, even when we have a promotion and relegation thing in MLS. You know, I think having a giant table of 30 teams is terrible. You know, it's only going to look for an excuse of having the top 10 teams go into a playoff, and we'll have a huge playoff game of 10 teams in it. We'll probably have like 5 teams relegated. It will just look ugly. We'll be a laughing stock of the world if we aren't already. I think really keeping the conferences 15 teams in each for a total of 30, 15 in the West, 15 in the East. And then maybe even the bottom 2 teams of those conferences will get relegated. And then the top 4, I'd say, go into the playoffs. I hate that we have so many playoff spots right now in MLS. I think that's annoying. It's, teams really don't deserve that. They're in the middle of the table. I think maybe the top 4 teams of each conference can go ahead and play in the MLS playoffs. And same thing for USL and stuff like that, Same kind of setup, just a lower division league. And in terms of, teams being promoted to USL, I think that the top 2 teams in USL Championship should be promoted to the MLS. And then maybe we could have some sort of playoff. You guys like the kind of playoff, every kind of promotion relegation system around the world is different. Some teams, like in the Premier League and La Liga, they have the bottom 3 being relegated. In some countries we have, like, in Holland we have teams who only have maybe even one team relegated from league. And then we also have teams, a table in the Bundesliga where they have a playoff system towards in the middle of a relegation battle. Teams will get promoted, teams will get relegated. They have a playoff match, see who gets to stay in the Bundesliga. I think that's a really cool thing. I think that's something here that American soccer fans will definitely like, and American sports fans as a whole will definitely love to see a playoff relegation thing. So maybe the bottom 2 teams of MLS, or maybe if you want to increase it to the bottom 3 and the 3rd place team who is relegated, would go ahead and play a playoff against a USL Championship team to see who can go into the MLS or who can stay in the MLS. Am I making sense here? Because in my head it makes sense, but I feel like I'm babbling too much. Either way, that's the way I want to see it set up. At least the bottom 2 or bottom 3 teams in MLS getting relegated, playoff maybe or not, for the USL Championship, and so on and so forth. It just goes down the line just like that. That way, a team, like I said, like Las Vegas City Lights or Birmingham Legion FC, teams in the USL can go ahead, have a great season, finish top of the table, and win their way into the MLS. That's the way it should be working, And like I said, keeping the conferences, sorry, I'm all over the place. Keeping the conferences in MLS is very, very crucial because USL and the bottom leagues also will keep their conferences. That way, 2 teams from the West will get relegated, 2 teams from the East will get relegated, but then 2 teams from USL West will get promoted, 2 teams from USL East will also get promoted to the MLS, and so on and so forth. I just think that's the best way to set it up here in America for a promotion and relegation system. I know I'm not the only one who thinks it's a good idea. And if you think it's a good idea, let me know down below, because I feel like I've been babbling this whole time. It's your turn to let me know how you guys think this promotion relegation should set up here in America. Okay, I'm having a little bit of anxiety here, thinking I'm really making no sense. So I really just want to go ahead and clear this up before I leave you guys. Here's the screen again. USL 2 promoted to League 1. League 1 promoted to Championship. Championship promoted to MLS. Perfect. Easy money. Very crucial thing to keep in mind. USL and MLS will each have their conferences set in place. That way, the bottom 2 teams in the west of MLS will get relegated, as will the east side of MLS get relegated as well, the bottom 2 teams there. Then, the top 2 teams in USL will go ahead and get promoted, the top 2 teams in USL East and West, that being. That way, it's almost like we'll always have 30 teams in MLS. We'll always have the same amount of teams in USL and the leagues under. Conferences are going to be a really, really crucial part of my setup here. If there's no conferences, it's going to be a huge, giant table in MLS, and it'll be a catastrophe. It'll be a giant catastrophe. And right before I leave you guys, I also want to say this. Any doubters of this kind of setup or promotion and relegation here, obviously, USL Championship has teams like LA Galaxy 2, Atlanta United 2, teams who are the second division team, basically, of a top-tier MLS team. And you guys might think, well, how are they going to play LA Galaxy 2 in the West with LA Galaxy 1? Like, how's that going to work? Well, here's the kicker. Just like in La Liga, where we had in La Liga 2, they had, Barcelona B or Real Madrid La Castilla, like their youth sides were also playing in the second division of Spanish soccer. But the rule was that, let's say Barcelona B gets top of the table in La Liga 2. They are not allowed to be promoted to La Liga because it wouldn't make sense. 2 Barcelona teams in one league, Doesn't make sense. And then for people who say, well, why are they even going to play? Like, why would LA Galaxy 2 go ahead and try to win the USL Championship on the Western Conference? Why would they even do that if they can't get into the MLS? Well, here it is. Here is the reason why they're going to try and play no matter what and be competitive at all times. Because since they are the youth players of the main LA Galaxy team, they're going to want to go ahead and impress and be promoted themselves to the first team. You know what I'm saying? Having an LA Galaxy 2 team who is bottom of the USL, relegated all the way down to League 2, a lot of those youth players are either going to be kicked out or either never be promoted to LA Galaxy 1 because they're not good enough. So teams who have second division teams are going to want to have their youth players really try and push themselves to be promoted to their first team. Does that make sense? Because it makes sense to me. I don't know, guys. It could be a huge mess, but I think this is the best way to really organize a promotion and relegation system, not just in MLS, but in American soccer as a whole. I am mind blown at how crazy it would be if this really happened. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below. As always, I'm Drew. Thanks for kicking it with me, and I'll see you next time. Peace.